Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very warm welcome to this Monday, 22nd September 2025 morning Srimad-Bhagavatam discussion. Today we are going to read from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 12, entitled Creation of the Kumaras and Others, Text 19. Before we discuss on this verse, let us sing Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe, Jai Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अश्वत्थ ऋषि श्री श्रीमद यजमान श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Govinda. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Navam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshadarine Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu Krishna Matirastu Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are going to read from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 19. Tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir bhagavantam adhokṣajam sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam añjasā vindate pumān. Tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir bhagavantam adhokṣajam sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam añjasā vindate pumān, tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir bhagavantam adhokṣajam, sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam, añjasā vindate pumān. Word by word, tapasa by penance, eva only, param the supreme, jyotir light, bhagavantam onto the personality of Godhead, adhokṣajam he who is beyond approach of the senses, sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam residing in the heart of all living entities, añjasā completely, vindate can know, pumān a person. Translation: by penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila I.S.K. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Rudra was advised by Brahma to perform penance as an example to his sons and followers that penance is necessary for attaining the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the common mass of people follow the path shown by an authority. Thus Brahma, disgusted with the Rudra generations and afraid of being devoured by the increase of population, asked Rudra to stop producing such an unwanted generation and take to penance for attaining the favor of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, we find in pictures that Rudra is always sitting in meditation for the attainment of the favor of the Lord. Indirectly, the sons and followers of Rudra are advised to stop the business of annihilation, following the Rudra principle, while the peaceful creation of Brahma is going on. Before we discuss on this verse, let us offer some prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namashreshtam Manamapi Shachiputram Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Murupurim Mathurim Goshthavati Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adadandastranam Dante Idam Yacha Punah Punah Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dhulisyam Janma Janmani. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 19. Tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir bhagavantam adhokṣajam sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam añjasā vindate pumān. By penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. This is a very beautiful, divinely exquisite verse spoken by Brahmaji to Rudraji. So we see in this particular chapter how the creation of Rudra has taken place. So when there was the anger coming from Brahma, that anger got the personification of Rudra. And Rudra actually also means Rudan. Rudan means the crying. The crying from... we can actually say that there is compassion as well. Along with anger, there is compassion. This is Ashutosh, another name of Rudra, Lord Shiva. Shiva also means auspicious. So initially, he is Rudra when he has taken his appearance, initial appearance. But then the Rudra gets transformed into Shiva as well. And Shiva means auspiciousness. And Ashutosh, another name of Lord Shiva is Ashutosh. Ashu means very quickly, Tosh means one who gets satisfied. One who gets satisfied very quickly is Ashutosh. So that is one of the qualities of the Shiva Tattva. So we talk about the different tattvas. We have got the Krishna Tattva. Ye Krishna Tattva vette sai Guru haya. Kiba vipra kiba nyasi shudra kene naya. Ye Krishna Tattva vette sai Guru haya. As it is mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it does not matter whether one is Vipra, Shat Karma Vipuno Vipra, Mantra Tantra Visharadaya, Avaishnava Guru Nusyad, Vaishnava Shvapacho Guru. So, what it means is that Vipra is a learned person. It does not matter whether one is a learned person, whether one is a sannyasi, nyasi, or whether one is actually Shudra. It does not matter. Ye Krishna Tattva Vete, say Guru Haya. One who knows the Krishna Tattva. What is Krishna Tattva? Krishna Tattva is when one has got that understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ite chamsha kalapamsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. As it is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam, all the different incarnations of Krishna is mentioned. And then in the end it is said that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna himself. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. So the whole loka, the whole existence was Vyakulam. Vyakulam is anxious, total state of anxiety. Why? Because the Indrari, Indra, the Ari means demon, the opposers, the enemies of, that is what Murari, Krishna, Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare. Ari is that where one is an enemy. So Krishna is the enemy of demon Mura. So that is Murare. Indrari, Indra. The enemies of Indra. So that is the demons. Dvau Buddha Swarga Lokosmi. Devasura Evacha. Vishnu Bhakta Smrita Deva Asuras Tad Viparya. It is mentioned in the scriptures that there are two categories of living entities. One is Vishnu Bhakta, the devotees of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. They are in the category of demigods. Asuras Tad Viparyaya. What is the qualities? It's not just by saying that one is becoming. Titikshava karunika suhridam sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shantas sadhavo sadhubhushanam. It is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam. What is the real qualities of a person who is surrendered onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna? It starts with titikshava, forbearance, karunika, compassion, suhridam sarvadehinam. One is the best friend of all the living entities. So this is what bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva-loka mahesharam suhridam sarva-bhūtānam gyatva mam shanti mrichati. As Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, how does one attain real peace? The real peace is what we are constituted of, the Satchidananda. So our original existence is based on eternal existence. It's not based on this temporary body. The body has got a date of birth, and because the body has a date of birth, certainly there is a date of death. And between the date of birth and date of death, there is disease and old age. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi, dukkha doshanu darshanam, indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankaram evacha, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, dukkha doshanu darshanam. These are the other qualities of someone who has surrendered unto Krishna. They understand that indriya artha, whatever is the object for the indriyas, one is not interested in that. Why one is not interested? Atma ramascha munaya nikrantapi urukkame kurvanti ahaitu kim bhaktim itham bhuta gunohari. Because when one knows that the total bliss is within, there is no need to depend on senses for any kind of happiness. And so this is what Krishna says, Adyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonayavate. So any kind of happiness, that so-called temporary happiness that one is getting from the senses coming in touch with the sense objects, it is actually a womb of misery, Krishna says. Dukkha yoni. It is. Why? Because Adyantavanta konteya. It has got a beginning and it has got an end. And therefore, an intelligent person, Buddha, does not ramante. Yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yanavate adyantavanta konteya na teshu ramate Buddha. An intelligent person does not indulge in sense gratification. Of course, when senses come in touch with the sense objects, there is a certain sensation that is coming in. And sometimes that sensation is conducive and sometimes it is non-conducive. Sometimes it is generating a so-called happiness within, and sometimes it is generating a repulsion within. And this is what is, when we talk about the pancha kleshas that is mentioned in the Yoga Sutras, the 5 kinds of impurities due to which we are in a conditioned state of existence. The raga and dvesha are quite an important one. Raga is the attachment to the things that is conducive to our psychophysical nature. And dvesha is the repulsion from the things that are not conducive for our psychophysical nature. So how is this psychophysical nature coming into existence in the first place? That is based on the experiences that I have been having since time immemorial. From birth after birth after birth, one is having this storage of mana, buddhi and ahankara, the mind, intelligence and false ego. The mind is storing everything, all the experiences, and every time, based on our situation, psychophysical situation, if something that I get is giving me some good kind of feeling within myself, I continue to want it. I hanker for it. That is what is kamshati. So there is a hankering for the sensations that gives a feeling of goodness within me. And there is also a repulsion from the sensations that give a feeling of unease within me. So this expectation of always wanting to have a feeling of goodness, an expectation of always running away from the feeling of uneasiness, is the nature of this existence in this conditioned world. So why are those two things happening? Because there is ajnana, because of ignorance. What is ignorance? Ignorance is thinking that the only existence is in this particular body. There is no other existence other than this body. And it becomes the way this whole wonderful universe is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It seems very strongly that that the bodily existence is the only existence. Because we are generally, the whole experience is based on body. But only if we have that subtle understanding will we understand that the existence of the body is dependent on consciousness. And the body is not independent. When there is consciousness, the body is functioning, all the vital organs are functioning, the breathing is taking place, all kinds of metabolism that needs to happen within the body is happening. That is because of the presence of the consciousness. Once the consciousness goes out of the body, everything stops. The body starts decomposing and it has got no value. So this particular understanding is extremely important understanding in human form of life. Somehow or other one has to understand the difference between one's consciousness and one's body. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya ajo nityam shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita about the original existence of us as eternal consciousness. The consciousness, the awareness that we have, consciousness, sometimes it feels that it is coming into existence and it goes out of existence. So if someone considers that the consciousness is just like a chemical within the body, then if one postulates like that, the theory is like that it is an ingredient within the body, and that ingredient somehow gets over, and then the body is dead. So someone can think like that the consciousness is like some kind of chemical. Then one is not understanding the real existence as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Na jayate murete va kadachit. Krishna actually uses the word kadachit. Kadachit means at any point in time. It's not that some point in time the one comes into existence and some point in time one goes out of existence. That is for the body. But for our eternal existence, never were we born, and because we were never born, we will never die. And this is the real understanding. This is the original existence. And when one is situated in this existence, that is what is Atma Rama. Because when one knows that one is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. One does not have any hankering, one does not have any lamentation. Because the hankering and lamentation is based on the psychophysical situation that one has. I have got a particular body. This body has got particular inclinations. It likes something, it dislikes something. It is attached to something and it runs away from something else. That's all based on my bodily existence. And this body, subtle body and the gross body. The gross body is made up of Bhumi Rapa Anala Vayu Kham Mana Buddhi Revacha. Bhumi Rapa Anala Vayu Kham. So earth, water, fire, air and space. That is what the gross body is made up of. Now Mana Buddhi and Ahankara is the subtle body. The mind, intelligence and false ego. And the subtlety goes on increasing. The false ego is the subtlest. And that's why it is very difficult unless one is actually trying to understand our subtleties of our nature, one will never come to that situation of understanding one's original nature. And unfortunately that is the conditioned state of existence in this material world. So as we said, there is raga and dvesha. Raga is attachment for the things that we like, and dvesha is running away from the things that we don't like, that is caused due to ignorance, ajnana. So ajnana, raga, dvesha. So there is ajnana and asmita. The second thing that, so first thing is ajnana, which is ignorance. So this ignorance means that I constantly think that the only existence is in this body and mind. There is no other existence. So that is ignorance. Once I have that ignorance, there is asmita. Asmita means I think that because of ignorance, I think that this is the only existence. There is no other existence other than this. Because of that, whatever the body likes, I am attached to it. Whatever the body dislikes, I am running away from it. So that is, so basically you have ajnana, asmita, then raga and dvesha. And then the final thing that we have is abhinivesha, it is called. That is that fear of death. Because I'm so much thinking that this body is the only existence. Then when the body goes out of existence, I'm gone. So that means some way or the other, I want not to die. But actually that is my original nature. I'm never born and I never die. So this is the conundrum of material existence. That even though each and every one of the living entities are eternal, they are never born, they will never die. Somehow or other, they are in this due to anadi bahirmukha jiv. Anadi, without any beginning, the jiv, the living entity, has been bahirmukha. Bahirmukha means facing away. So if this is Krishna and this is a living entity, the living entity is always in this direction, just enjoying, without looking at Krishna. And this is that Upanishad verse, Dol Suparna Sayujas Sakhaya, Samana Vrikshe, Pravishajya Jate. So that particular verse in Upanishad mentions about two birds sitting in one tree. And one bird is very much engrossed in eating the fruits of the tree, not knowing that the other bird is constantly looking at this bird. So that is the Atma and Paramatma. Upadrashta Anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara Paramatmeti cha pyukto dehesmin purusha para. As it is mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that is the Paramatma, the Upadrashta, the constantly overseeing things. The nothing goes outside the purview of Paramatma. Everything is within the purview of Paramatma. So the living entity, actually Atma, is paropi manute anartham tatkritam cha abhipadyate. Yaya sammohito jivo atmanam trigunatmakam. So it is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam, when there is samyak rupena mohita. Mohita means the attachment to the material existence. So when there is total attachment to material existence, the trigunatmakam, this so-called the false ego comes under the influence of the three modes of material nature. So when this false ego is surrendered onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one realizes that there has been no ignorance. The ignorance itself is an illusion. But that is, it's very, initially when one is in a conditioned state of existence, the illusion becomes so strong that one never tries to get to the basics of one's original nature. The fundamentals of our existence is that we are consciousness. And that consciousness is called Turiya, the fourth state. And then there is Turiya Tita as well. Turiya Tita is the state beyond consciousness, which is pure awareness. So the subtlety is increasing layer by layer by layer. So there is this, we've got this subtle body, which is the mind, intelligence and false ego, which is very difficult. The subtlety is, for example, the false ego. No one ever, unfortunately, gets to that level of understanding that there is false ego. Unless one has got this inculcation to understand what Krishna has mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. Krishna very beautifully mentions in Bhagavad Gita that actually all the work is being done by prakriti. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha, under the influence of the modes of material nature. The mode of sattvat sanjayate jnanam, rajasa lobham evacha, pramadamoho tamaso, bhavato ajnanam evacha. So when one is in the mode of goodness, one is wanting to understand the transcendental knowledge. One is wanting to go in the direction of knowing that one is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Rajasa lobham evacha. When one is in the mode of passion, one is totally attached to the sense gratification and constantly hankering for the raga and dvesha, constantly running after the things that gives good feeling and running away from the things that gives bad feelings. So there is raga and dvesha. And then, so this is the yaya sammohito jivo atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manute anartham. It is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam that originally one is para. Para means divine, transcendental. One transcends the three modes of material nature. That is our original existence. But manute anartham. Somehow or other, one takes on anartha. Anartha means that which is not of any value. Anartha upasamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokṣajam lokasya janata vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. That is mentioned in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. That anartha upasamam sakshat. That this Srimad-Bhagavatam is there for us so that we can take away all the anarthas, all the things that is not conducive for us to remain in our eternal position as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Because that is the fundamental, whether one knows it or one does not know, one is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. When one knows it, one is in a liberated state of existence. When one is in ignorance of that, one is in a conditioned state of existence. So that is why this ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya. The prayer for the Guru that is said, it is said that this añjasā is there. Añjasā, what is there? Jnananjana shalakaya. This anjana is the eyes. The eyes are anointed with a salve of love for the Lord. The eyes are given that divine vision so that one can see that everyone is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva shvapakecha pandita samadarshina. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna that the Pandita, the real person who has got the transcendental knowledge, is Samadarshi. Samadarshi means they are seeing everyone equally. Now, one might see a Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane. One might see a Brahmana who has got Vidya and Vinaya, who has got the transcendental knowledge, and because of that, he is humble. And so you're seeing the person is seeing a Pandit, a person who has got that real knowledge is seeing this person, Brahmana, with the knowledge and humility. Gavi is seeing a cow. Hastini is seeing an elephant. Shuni, he's seeing a dog. And Shwapakhe, he's seeing a dog eater. So he has seen 5 different kinds of living entities, but he's seeing everyone equally, Samadarshina. That is the Jnana Chakshusha. The Jnana Chakshusha is that divine vision. Through that divine vision, one is seeing everyone as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Then there is no raga dvesha, there is no abhinivesha. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatah syat. Ishadapetasya vipareyo asmriti. It is very beautifully mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam that the fear happens because one is thinking that there is something other than Krishna. Actually, the only existence everywhere is Krishna. Either is superior energy or inferior energy. apareyam itastu anyam vidhi me prakritim param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Bhinna prakriti ashtadha. So as we were mentioning, the 8 separated energies, it starts from earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So this is the separated energies, bhinna prakriti. And then Krishna says there is a superior energy that I have. Aparayam mitastvanyam vidhime prakritim param. That is the transcendental energy, which is jiva bhuta, the living entities. The living entities are parashakti. And so there is parashakti and aparashakti. And when we are talking about shakti, this is srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti rekha chayeva yasya bhorani bibharti durga ichhanurupam apicha cheshtate sa Govinda purusham tamaham bhajami. So it is very wonderful to discuss about Durga Devi as well, because the Navaratri days are starting as well. And this is the energy of the Lord. The Durga Devi, Durga means a castle. So this material world is like a huge castle that is, and Durga Devi is in charge of that Durga. So Durga Devi ensures that the living entity is ready to Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrata mudhoyam nabi janati mamebhya paramavayam. So as Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, he is not visible to everyone because he is being covered by the yoga maya potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the Durga Devi potency, the Mahamaya Yoga Maya. So when that potency is within the material world, it is Mahamaya. When that potency is within the spiritual world, it is Yoga Maya. So that is the Bahiranga Shakti and Antaranga Shakti. The Bahiranga is the external energy. Antaranga is the internal energy. And then there is Tatastha. Tatastha is the marginal energy, which is a combination of internal and external energy. And that is the living entities. So the living entities are Tatastha. Jivasya Tatastha Shakti, Bheda Bheda Prakash. Suryansha Yatha Agni Jwala Chaya, Krishnera Swabhavika Teen Prakar Prakriti Haya. So it is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Jivera Swarup Haya Krishnera Nityadas. Krishna se Tatastha Shakti Bheda Bheda Prakash. That the original form of all the living entities is that they are an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, eternally engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the state of liberation is a state when one realizes through one's whatever faculties one has. What are the faculties that one has in the human form of life? The very gross faculty is the body itself, and then the subtle faculty is the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So through those faculties, if one can understand that all this is a direct, costless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and understanding that if one says that all the activities are devoted to you, O Lord, yat karoshi yadashnasi yat joshi dadasi yat tapassisi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Very beautifully Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what should be one's state of mind when one is engaged in all the activities that one is doing in one's life. From the morning when one wakes up until the time one is sleeping, and even when one is in the deep sleep, in the dream and deep sleep, if one somehow or other has got this inclination to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be grateful that one has got this wonderful existence, despite of all the so-called challenges that one has in the material existence, the fact that one is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna is itself one of the glorious costless mercy that the Supreme Personality is giving. So that is what, if we look at this particular verse, tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir bhagavantam adhokṣajam. So here in this particular verse, Brahmaji is saying to Rudra that the most important thing that you have to engage in is tapasa, tapa. Tapo divyam putraka yena shuddhyet sattva yasmad brahma saukyam tvanantam. Nayam deho deva bhajam nraloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujanye. It is mentioned by Kapildev. No, it is actually mentioned by Rishabdev to his sons. Rishabdev says that this existence that one is got in this material world, it is not for Nayam deho deha bhajan nraloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujanye, not for engaging in sense gratification, because sense gratification can be done in any other species of life as well. And one of the examples that Rishabdev is giving is with bhujan. Unfortunately, the hogs, even in that species of life, the sense gratification is available. So what is the speciality of this human form of life? Tapo divyam putraka. So Rishabdev says that he's addressing all his sons, and he says that what is the most important thing here is one has to somehow or other engage in the austerity of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is actually not austerity. Tapa, when the remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is blissful. It is a bliss that is totally not related to senses. Atindriyam. Sukham atyantikam yattad buddhigrahyam atindriyam. Viti yatrana charivaya sthitas chalati tatvata. So, as Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, when one is in that state of actual tattvata, understanding of that existence, that one is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, one is in a state that is sukham atyantikam. That kind of happiness is unbounded, without any limits, limitless happiness. The one from the sense gratification is limited, and it is womb of misery as well, unfortunately, because the senses are limited. But our original existence is unlimited. It has no beginning, no end. It is beyond the three modes of material nature. Avan manasa gochara. So when one is engaged in this tapa, in the conditioned state of existence, because of my psychophysical condition, I am running after sense gratification. But if I somehow or other, because of this understanding of my eternal nature, at least theoretically, I forcefully stop the sense engagement and I go deep within, that is called tapa. For example, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When one is engaged in this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the mind might not initially cooperate, because the mind wants to go into the things that is sensorily indulgent. So if one is indulging in the senses, so this is what is Krishna says, Mama evamshe jiva loke jiva bhuta Sanātana manaha shashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that all the living entities are my eternal part and parcels. Mama eva amsha jiva loke jiva bhuta Sanātana. Sanātana means without any beginning, without any end, eternally. Manaha shashtani indriyani. But when I identify myself with my mind and the five senses, and the mind being the sixth sense, prakriti sthani karshati. Karshati means struggle. Prakriti sthani means within this material existence. So, the moment I identify myself with my mind and the five senses, and the mind is called the sixth sense, the struggle in this material universe starts. Why? Because immediately I think that I am this thing this gross and subtle body. Immediately when I think I am this gross and subtle body, everything that is the conditioning of this gross and subtle body comes into effect. And then immediately there is struggle, because the whole perspective is based on me as this particular psychophysical existence, rather than me as an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so that is why tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir, it is mentioned in this particular verse that eva, tapasa eva, eva means certainly. This engagement in us going within, which is tapa, certainly is param jyoti. Param is supreme, jyoti is light. So that is, it's a metaphor here. It does not mean that one is actually experiencing some light or anything. What one is experiencing is vastness, the vastness of not being conditioned according to the proclivities that this body is bringing up. That is param jyoti. Tapasaiva param jyoti bhagavantam adhokṣajam. The second line is very beautiful. Adhokṣaja, adha krita akṣaja. That means that which cannot be understood by, seen by the blunt material eyes. Because the eyes have the limitation in terms of seeing only material things. Because the eyes itself is material. So that is why ahaitukya savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokṣaje. There is adhokṣaja word used in another place in Srimad-Bhagavatam. It says that that is the supreme activity that one can do, which is the loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who cannot be seen by the blunt material eyes. So how can sevon mukhehi jivhado swayam eva spurati? So how does the actual form of the Lord gets revealed? Because currently the only way we can experience things is through the material existence. Then it is said seva unmukha. When one is eager to render loving devotional service to the Lord reveals himself. Swayam eva spurati adha. So this is what is adha Shri Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai. So it is said that the actual name of the Lord, the actual form of the Lord, the actual entourage of the Lord, the actual pastimes of the Lord, it cannot be known through the blunt material senses. Because the Lord is situated on a transcendental level. He transcends the material existence. So therefore, when one has got that sense of understanding that everything is Lord's, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincham jagatyam jagat, then from that perspective of humility, when the Lord is satisfied with the humility of the living entity, He reveals Himself. That is what is adhokṣaja, bhagavantam adhokṣajam. Then the third line is again very beautiful line, sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam. Sarva-bhūta is all living entities. Guha-avāsam. Guha is generally the place where the caves. Generally, guha, literal meaning of guha is cave. So, what is the property of the cave? The cave, it would be very dark. It will go inside, and it will be quite inaccessible in that sense. Because no one, generally, people would not like to go into the cave because they don't know what they are getting into. But our original existence is called the actual existence of all the living entities. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishta matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that I am in the heart of all the living entities. So this here the guha is mentioned as that place which is inaccessible when we are engaged in material sense gratification. Because when one is engaged in material sense gratification, the whole consciousness is going outside, and it is, the whole attitude is that somehow or other I have to squeeze out sensory enjoyment from my existence. So that is the whole concept of material existence. But when one understands that one is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then one knows that all that so-called happiness that one is getting from sensory experiences, the source of that is within. And that source has got no beginning and no end. That is what is Atma Ramascha Munya Nigranthapi Urukrame Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Hari. It is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam that when one is in that state of Atma Rama, that means total blissful enjoyment irrespective of external impulses that one is getting. Atma Rama Shimunya, that state of existence is Nigranthapi Urukrame. Urukrame means one is generally, the whole material existence is involved in doing lots and lots of material activities so that one keeps on getting lots and lots of things for sense gratification. That is the material existence, that is Urukrama. So Nigranthapi, one has taken away that hard knot of material existence. Nigranthapi Urukrame, then what happens? Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhakti. Then one engages in loving devotion service of Krishna without any costs, costless. Ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Very beautiful verse in Srimad-Bhagavatam. So that is the supreme activity, Save Pumsam Paro Dharma. What is that? Yato Bhaktir adhokṣajam. The supreme activity is engaging in loving devotional service of Krishna, who cannot be known through the blunt material senses. Adhokṣajam. And how does that loving devotional service needs to take place? Ahetuki. Without any cost. Because otherwise, generally, there are other kinds of devotional service as well. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto jignasur arthati jnani cha bharatarshava. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that 4 kinds of pious people come to me. So one who is in distress, one who is inquisitive, one who wants wealth, and one who is in knowledge. Arto jignasu arthati jnani cha bharatarshava. And then Krishna says, Tesham jnani nityayuktam eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani atyartha maham sacha mama priya. A very beautiful verse. Krishna is saying that among all the 4 kinds of people, the person in knowledge is very dear to me. Why? Because eka bhaktir vishishyate. Through the knowledge, this person is engaging in one pointed loving devotion service of Krishna. This is that surrender. Bahunam janmanamante jnanvan mam prapadyate. When that knowledge is existing, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes, sarva karana karanam, aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, he says that when one knows that everything is coming from me, aham sarvasya prabha matta sarvam pravartate, everything is existing because of Krishna, then when one knows this, bhajante mam iti matva, one engages in loving devotion service of Krishna. Who is such a person? Buddha. Such a person is a very intelligent person. And how does such a person engage in loving devotion service? Bhava samanvita. Bhava means full of emotion, because that is the only thing that one can give to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing else can be given to the Lord, because everything else is Lord's. Emotion is a particular experience that one is getting based on one's existence as a living entity. And that's why when one is engrossed in something that one likes, one's emotions are involved in it. And when one's emotions are involved in something, one is invested in that particular activity. So that's why bhava samanvita, bhava grahi janardana. Murkham vadati vishnaya dhiram dadati vishnave ubhaya cha samam punyam bhava grahi janardana. Very beautiful verse which talks about the importance of that emotional connection with Krishna. So that particular verse is saying that a person who does not know proper Sanskrit might say Om Vishnaya Namaha. And Vishnaya is not the right way. The right way is Vishnave. Om Vishnave Namaha is the correct way. But because one does not know Sanskrit, one might say Om Vishnaya Namaha. What that particular verse is saying is, it does not matter about the pronunciation. Both will get the same result if their bhava is at the right place. Bhava grahi janardana. So if one has got that loving emotion towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the most important thing. Everything else is secondary. Yena tena prakarena mana krishni niveshayat sarve vidhi nishedasyo retayo reva kinkara. As it is mentioned in the scriptures, Srila Rupa Goswami says that some way or the other fix the mind on Krishna. All the other rules and regulations are subservient to this main rule, that the mind has to be fixed on Krishna. So this is what is añjasā vindate pumān. So completely, then one can know, the person can know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a very beautiful verse from Brahmaji to Rudra, saying tapasaiva paraṁ jyotir bhagavantam adhokṣajam sarva-bhūta-guhāvāsam añjasā vindate pumān. By penance only can one even approach the Personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. That is what is called avan manasa gochara. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But of course, when one has got that humility and surrender, then the Lord will reveal. And then one will know that this connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternal. And this so-called material trials and tribulations is part of that whole illusory existence, which is so when one actually gets liberated from the material existence, one will understand that the whole so-called material existence is like a dream that when one gets, before one gets a deep sleep. The real existence is in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is what is, with this, we'll just say one particular verse and then we'll conclude. Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikilasvapi avasthaso jivan muktasa uchyate. That particular verse says that if one is engaged with karmana, manasa and gira, karmana is activities, manasa is mind and gira is speech. So through mind activities and speech, if one is constantly always remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging whatever activity one is doing, one is offering it as a loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then even though one is existing in this material world, in a material body, one is actually in a liberated state of existence. And that is what Lord Shiva's specific Shiva Tattva is. It is actually a Shiva Tattva. We see that. So you got the Krishna Tattva, you got the Narayana Tattva, and then you got the Shiva Tattva, and then you got the Jiva Tattva. Krishna Tattva, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions, is 100%. Then Narayana Tattva is, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions about the different qualities and he says it's 94%. And then he says Shiva Tattva, he says 84%, and then he says the Jiva Tattva is 78%. So these, according to the qualities that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has. So, and then the Jivas are very minute as well. That is the difference. So, with the prayer that Lord Ashutosh, one who gets satisfied very quickly, gives us his own wonderful loving devotional service, we would like to conclude this discussion. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Udale Śrīmade Bhakti Vedanta Samaniti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisheshi Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshitarane. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishna Materastu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.